Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a really quick detailed review on the SURIPOW two-way, works with K-Cups or ground coffee. So these are single serve coffee makers. This kind of looks like the Mainstays one, which is 20 bucks off of Walmart. But you got two buttons here, one's for capsules, one's for ground coffee. Back here's where the water goes. It's got this little filter, but the water's going to end up going down there and get heated. But you got to leave this in so that you know how much you want to add. It's got little steps, 6, 8, 10, or 14 ounce. And it'll brew whatever amount of water you put back here. That's the amount it's going to brew. So these things take really small footprints. I mean, there's just not much to them. But to open the lid, you got to push that. And then it pops up. Be careful, you do have a needle here. Now I've got this is the basket for the K-Cups. See how there's a needle down there to poke it? This is the basket for coffee grounds. And then it's got its own lid. So if you wanted to do coffee grounds, you would put this in there. Make sure the cover's on. And then you just close the lid till it snaps. And then we're going to press that button. So I'm going to show you all these different features. Just wanted to show you. It does have a nice drip tray. I'm going to measure that, see how big a cup we can get in here. There is a little bit of cord storage, and the cord is decently long. So we're going to check all these features. Push button, lid opening. Holds K-Cups, yeah. So these things aren't real fancy. Just real basic. I've seen these with a couple different names on them. I think they're all kind of about the same. Do dimensions, so about 8 inches front to back. About 5.5 inches wide. So with the lid open, yeah, this doesn't take up much room at all. About 13.5. So this would fit really nice under a cabinet. You just got to be able to pour the water in the backside. And a good rule of thumb is to, whatever you're brewing your coffee into, just use that to pour the water in the back. That way you know you got the right amount. So let's do K-Cups. Now this takes any, as long as it says K-Cup, it takes any style. I mean, they're all the same style, but that's a pretty basic K-Cup. It doesn't really have to be a certain brand. So generic brand, Keurig brand, it takes all kinds of K-Cups. So I'm going to try this Great Value one first. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the K-Cup holder in. Then I'm just going to place the K-Cup in there. I don't need to press it down and pierce it. The machine's going to do all the piercing. So then I'm going to take the lid, and I want to make sure I hear that snap. Okay, so it pierced it and it snapped closed. It's definitely closed. So let's talk K-Cups real quick. Most K-Cup boxes don't tell you what to brew it, how much to brew it, as far as the water quantity. But I typically like between 6 and 8 ounces. So this is a standard, kind of a standard coffee cup. So let's see how many ounces that is. So this is about 10 ounces. So yeah, 8 ounces I think tastes just a little bit better. So you're going to have to kind of get used to what you like the taste of, because you're in control of how much water you add. How much water you add is how it's going to brew it. So if you put 10 ounces in, it's going to put out 10 ounces. If you just want 8 ounces, so you got to get kind of used to the quantity of water that you're putting in. So let's do a 10 ounce brew with this. I've got my K-Cup in. Like I said, Keurig's brew their K-Cups around between 8. You know, 6 is a really strong, 6 ounces is a really strong coffee. 8 ounces I think is about right. But we'll do 10 ounces today. So we're going to open up the back here. And like I said, this is where, you know, I can use this container to pour the water in, or my coffee cup. So say, let's pretend like this is every day. So that's about the amount of coffee I like to drink. So I'm going to pour my water in. Now it is a little messy with a coffee cup. It might be better to have something to pour it in. But let's take a look at the steps. So yeah, I'm right at almost to the 10 ounce step. So now I'm going to put my coffee mug underneath there, close the lid in the back, and all I got to do is come over here, turn the machine. So it says capsule instead of KCup. That's what you want. You don't want ground. That's for coffee. So we're going to press the button one time. So when you press the button, it starts flashing blue. And then you're going to hear it heat up, and it says it takes about 3 minutes to brew your cup of coffee. Okay, so the machine, you can hear the water boil. You can hear the water boiling inside. Once it gets it up to a certain temperature, it's going to kick a pump on and send the water through the KCup. So you can really hear the water boiling now. And it's good to leave that lid closed because it does boil it right back there. So I heard it kick the pump on, and now it's brewing our coffee. It took about 2.5 minutes. Smells really good. It's not very noisy when it's got the pump on. You do have to stir these drinks because it gets kind of light colored towards the end, so it's nice to stir them. So that took about 3 minutes, and you can kind of hear the pump still running. It is a little loud towards the end. It should kick off here in a second. Okay, so it's done. The blue light went off on the side. Now let's check a temperature. That's a really hot cup of coffee. 170, yeah. Most coffee makers are about 165, so that's going to be a really hot cup of coffee. And you know, it does taste really good. I've had coffees out of here. It works with a lot of different K-Cups. You can do teas and all kinds of different K-Cups. So, let me taste it. Yeah, that tastes like a good cup of coffee. So this machine works pretty good. Again, you're in control of how much water you put in. Whatever amount of water you put in. So you wouldn't want to fill that reservoir up if you had a small cup, because it's going to brew whatever you fill that reservoir up with, it's going to brew through that K-Cup. So we'll take a look. See, it brewed all the water that was in that reservoir. So each time you add the water to the reservoir, it's going to brew whatever's in there. So let's do cleanup. You're going to want to be careful. This could be hot, but you're going to push this button, and it'll pop up. Now, it does have this nice little carrying thing, so you can just take this over the trash can or your recycling bin and recycle your K-Cups. I do have a video on how to recycle K-Cups. If you could, check that out. So we're just going to put it right there. And you're ready to go for your next K-Cup. You do get some coffee grounds up around there. So it might be good to do a rinse once in a while, where you just close this, put some water in, and do a rinse. So let's do some coffee grounds. Here we have the capsule for the coffee grounds. It's a really nice metal mesh filter. Now, one thing I'm going to warn you is, so you don't get any coffee grounds in your coffee, but you do get sediment. I've tried this before. I haven't found a filter that would fit inside here, like a paper filter. So just keep that in mind. You do get a little sediment in your coffee. But the max line is not above the max, it's right here. And I've filled this up before too high. So make sure, see, the line's kind of hidden, so you don't want to go above this mark right here. And that's about 2 tablespoons. So we're gonna, and you just use normal ground coffee like you'd put in a coffee maker. That's nice. So we're gonna go 1, 2. Let me kind of even that out. So yeah, if I could show you, see, okay, you can see the line. That I am not above that line right there. That's all you got to do. 2 tablespoons, not above that line. I don't recommend using this for a scoop, because you don't want any coffee grounds on the outside. If there's any coffee grounds or anything on the outside, it's going to get into your drink. So the lid doesn't snap on or anything. It just kind of sits there. So again, we're going to open up this lid, take out our KCup. The needle, everything stays there. Now we're just going to put our coffee grounds in the same location. Make sure it's kind of down and flush. Make sure the lid's on there. Do the same thing. Make sure it clicks. Okay, it clicked. Now we've got to add our water. So this is about 8 ounces, between 8 and 10 ounces. You know, again, if you want a big coffee cup, you can run a lot of water through there, but keep in mind that's just 2 tablespoons. You know, once you get above 10 ounces, it is going to start tasting a little weak. So we're going to lift this up. I'm going to pour in my water. Made a mess. So again, I'm going to put my coffee cup down, close this lid. Then I'm just going to come over here. Now I got to hit the ground coffee one. And that blue light's going to start flashing. So it's going to start heating up that water in the reservoir. Once it's up to temperature, it's going to turn on a pump and send it through the coffee grounds. And we'll videotape it. So I do recommend getting like a measuring cup to add your water. Again, just make sure you're putting in whatever water your cup can hold. Because, you know, if I filled this thing all the way up, I would overfill this. So I do recommend getting something with a pour spout. I was making quite a bit of mess using my coffee cup to pour the water in. So again, the machine is, you can hear it heating up the water back there in that reservoir, and then it's going to turn the pump on inside. Okay, so it kicked the pump on, and now we're going to brew the coffee through the coffee grounds. It seems like it's brewing this a little slower. With the KCup, it kind of shoots the water a little quicker. So it's coming out of there. Yeah, about 170. Yeah, that's really hot cup of coffee. And it is a little noisy towards the end with that pump. Sounds like that pump is just running out of water. That's perfectly normal, even though it kind of sounds like it's bad. Okay, so it's done. We've checked temperature. I've had this coffee. It's really good. You know, that's a good cup of coffee. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to let this sit for a minute. Now, I don't know whether sediment is good or bad. I'm just going to show you that you do get some sediment in your coffee. But you do have to let your coffee sit for just a minute to kind of see it. So we're going to let that sit, and we'll do some cleanup. So cleanup with the coffee is a little more involved. So you're going to take the coffee thing out. You know, keep in mind this is going to be hot, and it is going to kind of drip on you as you do your work. So I'm going to put it on this plate. So there's our coffee grounds. You know, it did a really good job. We can recycle these now. We can put them in a bucket and recycle them outside, or we can throw them away. But we are going to have to rinse this out with a lot of soap and water, and you will get some coffee grounds down your sink drain. So here I've emptied it. Now I got to go rinse it out. Okay, so this I've let it sit for a little bit. This is the coffee grounds through this machine. I want to show you do get a little bit of sediment. So there's the sediment. Now, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I just wanted to show you, you do get some sediment. Here's the KCup that I brewed earlier. And KCups have filters, paper filters in them, most of them, so you don't get that sediment. KCup's got just a, I mean, just very minor. And here's what a KCup looks like. So that's what that, you have a paper filter. So the coffee sits in a paper filter, which that's what removes the sediment. And when you do a brew with the coffee grounds, the wire mesh screen is not enough to prevent sediment. So if you could find a paper filter that fit inside there, then you could prevent sediment. So a nice thing, when you're all said and done, when it brews your cup of coffee, it does shut itself off automatically. And cleanup, like I said, all three of these items are dishwasher safe. You do have to kind of clean down in there once in a while. I noticed some coffee gets down in there. So this is a pretty nice single serve coffee maker. Again, it does K-cups and ground coffee. They do both taste the same. Just the one with coffee grounds does have sediment, but I really can't taste the sediment. But cleanup is simple. These things don't have a big footprint. They're very simple to operate. I'm going to do another video on how to descale, because this does have a heating element in there that needs descaled once in a while. So check out that video. You know, this thing is selling for 50 bucks on Amazon. I'm not sure it's worth $50. The mainstays one at Walmart is 20 bucks. I did a review on it. It's exactly the same. It looks the same, you know. I'm not sure why this one would be that much more expensive, but I would just definitely get the Walmart one. But this is a nice one. If you do have it, it is nice and it's going to work. If you've got any questions on this coffee maker, I'd be glad to help. Please leave your comments down below. I check my comments on a daily basis. And thanks everybody for watching. And if you could, please like and subscribe.